La Puente, Bassett, East Valinda, or whatever the case may be. Again, Hispanics, yeah, there's some blacks there, or whatever the case may be. So most of my arrests are going to be Hispanics or whites. Now, if I were to go to South LA, what are my arrests going to be? Majority is black.
Yeah.
So does that make me racist? I don't get to choose my clients.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't care. I actually arrested more Hispanics than I have blacks. But now am I racist because I arrest my own people? No. I'm sorry. I didn't wake up and decide to break the law. You did.
Yeah.
You could be Asian or green for all I care. You broke the law, you're going to jail.
Laugh a little bit, yeah. Hosted by Fidel. Tell it like it is, only tell it real. Live every Tuesday, you know the deal. We talking again. You now tuned in to the tap in. You now tuned in to the tap in. You now tuned in to the tap in. We're talking again.
The world in general with the whole racism and against law enforcement deal. And, pretty much, like I said, it's just, you got to understand, it's almost like that saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, okay, you're taking away the group of people who are willing to throw their lives down for strangers. So what do you think is going to happen if you take law enforcement completely out of the picture? If that's what you want to do, in some states, that's what they want.
Yeah.
Did it get better for, let's say, was it Oregon or whatever it was?
Oh, well, no, who was it in?
I don't know what it was, but they literally took a whole city, and there was like murders going on and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And their governor, who was liberal, was
it was in Oregon, right?
Yes, and they're liberal, and the governor was like, well, no, we're going to allow it, you know. And people died. That was just in a matter of a few days. So imagine right now they said, you know what, California, we're getting rid of our law enforcement. We're going to do this so-called community policing. Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you something. Do you know what to do when a kid comes to you and says, hey, I just got raped?
Hell no, man.
Or, hey, I just got robbed. They took everything.
I'd say call the cops.
Exactly.
Make a report.
But the cops are not there no more.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Or, hey, Mr. Police Officer, I just saw this guy beat up his wife. I don't even think she's breathing. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So people don't understand it. It's just, we can't live in a lawless, town or state or country for that matter.
Yeah.
You need law. And if you really don't know what it's like to live in a law or in a lawless type of country, then go to Iraq, go to a third world country, go to somewhere where there's just guerrillas and no law enforcement and corruption and everything. Let me tell you, and tell me if you're going to survive that week vacation.
Yeah. I don't know if like the biggest, for the most part, I think people know that we need law enforcement. I think they know that. They're smart. A lot of knuckleheads are saying some bullshit, right? But I think for the most part, we know we need law enforcement. Right. But I don't think that's the biggest issue. The biggest issue right now is the racism, right? The racism that goes on. The blatant racism, right? That goes on. But it's what, of course, you said it earlier, it's what the media's showing us. It's what right. They show us. But they don't show. One of the things I always ask is, I wish I could see the 10 minutes before.
Yes.
I wish I could see that. Like,
I worked the first few years of my patrol time in the city of San Dimas, but the unincorporated areas, meaning I patrolled Covina, Azusa, Pomona. Predominantly, the races there is, whites and Hispanics. So if you look at my arrests, it's going to be majority whites and Hispanic.
Yeah.
I now work at a different station, and in that station, I work, La Puente, Bassett, East Valinda, or whatever the case may be. Again, Hispanics, yeah, there's some blacks there, or whatever the case may be. So most of my arrests are going to be Hispanics or whites. Now, if I were to go to South LA, what are my arrests going to be? Majority is black.
Yeah.
So does that make me racist? I don't get to choose my clients.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't care. I actually arrested more Hispanics than I have blacks. But now am I racist because I arrest my own people? No. I'm sorry. I didn't wake up and decide to break the law. You did.
Yeah.
You could be Asian or green for all I care. You broke the law, you're going to jail. And people are confusing that. Here's another thing. I remember I had a certain call, and it was in a rich area, actually. And I'm driving around. I was working overtime. And I get, we say a call, that means a call for service. Okay, you call 911, it goes to a cop and X, Y, and Z. And so in this call, it said a male black wearing a blue jeans and a black shirt and a black hat walking, possibly casing the area.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is, hey, they've gotten burglaries before. This guy, rich people know who they live in their area. We don't know who he is. He shouldn't belong here, X, Y, and Z. So I see the guy and I pull, hey, come here, guy. And of course, what does he say? You're just stopping me because I'm black. Da, 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 da. And I actually did something that I don't know if any other law enforcement officer's ever done. I said, you know what, guy, come here real quick. So he does. I get my little computer and I send it to him. And I'm like, what does that say? And he goes, male, black, blue jeans, black hat. Well, man, that sounds like me. It is you.
Yeah.
I'm not the racist one. They called on you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even want to be here. I was about to get lunch.
Yeah.
So for the record, I'm not being racist. Do you live here? I got his ID. And he was actually out of town. I'm visiting my cousin. He lives there. No problem. But unfortunately, let's just say this was caught on social media. You're going to see a law enforcement guy picking on a black guy. Oh my God. Just because he's walking. I am not the one that called on him.
Yeah.
I am there to find out what's going on. And unfortunately, this area has been burglarized by we get people, groups of black individuals that will come from other areas. They come into this certain area because, especially during vacation time, holidays, no one's there, and they burg the place, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Hispanics. They do the same thing. They don't do these crimes in the area they live.
Yeah.
I'm sure Beverly Hills has their stories. As a matter of fact, Dr. Dre, what happened? World news in the hospital, and someone tried breaking the guy's house. He had a brain aneurysm. I love Dr. Dre. You know what I mean?
I heard about him. I didn't hear about the breaking and entering.
Yeah, no, they tried to break into his house. The guy is in the hospital. So are the cops racist? No. Again, we don't get to pick and choose our clients. I'm sorry. We don't.
Yeah.
You decided to break the law. It is my job to correct that. And that is it. And I think the world really, if you really want to educate yourself on law enforcement, look into it. Now, reform, hey, if the world thinks we should all be on the same page, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay,
let's get in the same page. But I'm going to tell you right now, some of the things that they're requesting as far as taking out, different tools, I would say, that we use to neutralize a threat. When you start taking, cops can't do this. Cops can't use a karate. They can't. Okay, well, now you're making my job more difficult. So how am I supposed to stop this guy with a gun?
Yeah.
You don't want me to kill him.
So when you say tools, it's like the way you apprehend someone.
Correct.
Okay.
You don't want me to use lethal force. You don't want me to go hands-on. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to just stand here and look at him?
Well, ask him nicely, maybe,
exactly.
to stop.
And let me tell you something. A career criminal is not, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm going to start off nice, sir, come over here. But when you start coming at me, hey, go fuck yourself. Whoa, hold on. Because at the end of the day, let's go back to childhood. If your parents asked you to do something nicely, would you do it? Probably you blow it off.
Yeah.
But if your parents said, hey, Fidel, get your ass over here and take out the trash. Oh, I'm on it.
Yeah.
Some people just respond to that. Is it pretty on camera? No.
Yeah.
But sometimes people, different upbringings. And I just find it especially horrific with all the riots and things going on. A lot of these people are actually not even from this state. They're from different areas and different groups who all they want to do is cause chaos. As a matter of fact, in South LA, I remember a couple partners out there were talking about it. And they were saying all these protesters, a lot of them were for white privileged people from Oregon or whatever. And there was gangs from South LA actually helping the cops out. Get out of here, dude. We don't want your garbage here.
Yeah.
Leave these guys alone. They're just trying to do the jobs.
Yeah.
It's kind of a unspoken rule. Criminals know cops are going to do what cops do. That's it.
Yeah.
We're not going to go above and beyond. We're going to do our job. If you're committing a crime, it is what it is. And they understand that. I don't become a cop and realize I'm not going to be in a shooting. I've been in two. You don't become a cop and say, guess what? I'm going to have this awesome career, make this great money, and I'm never going to have to use my gun or use force. Absolutely not. The day's going to come.
Yeah.
That's why I went to the Army, to prepare me for that. Mm-hmm. So, with all that being said, but what's easier? Let me look at some of social media. Let me see this horrific small little video, and let me not put in the 10 minutes prior to that.
Yeah.
People don't know about George Floyd was a convicted felon, and not only that, but I think the last crime he committed before that, he did a home invasion robbery, and it was a pregnant woman. And he put a gun into the woman's pregnant belly and said, if you call the cops, I'm killing your child.
Yeah.
Somehow this guy got a traveling funeral. You couldn't even see, if someone died, God forbid, in your family, you couldn't even see them.
Right.
And all this stuff, and these politicians taking a knee. You think Nancy Pelosi gives a shit about George Floyd?
Yeah.
It's clear her nephew, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, does it. We just saw him eating dinner.
Yeah.
They're talking about, damn near, you're going to go to hell if you don't wear a mask. Oh, why are you at this fancy restaurant eating whatever? Right. So that's why a lot of agencies, top officials, sheriff or chiefs are saying, no, dude, we're not going to be hypocrites. We're not playing your game. We'll enforce the law we're expected to do. But anything that you're trying to add to it, unless it didn't go through the proper channels, we're not doing it. Mm-hmm. Like Riverside Sheriff, that's awesome. Let me tell you, that guy's on point.
Oh yeah.
And we're not gonna take good law-abiding citizens to jail for nonsense. So, that's just, again, we can go deeper, but at the end of the day, you're going to have your opinion. You can sit there and probably watching this or hearing this or whatever and saying, you know what, fuck that guy. I still think cops are shit. Then fine. I'm sorry. At least you can't say you weren't told the other side of the story.
Yeah.
At all. And again, we talked about my earlier life. So I wasn't born and raised a cop. I had a bad life, or not. I'm not saying a bad life because there was people in my family that cared about me, of course. But my childhood with my parents wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
In the Army, it was very racist. I remember my first time in Fort Benning, Georgia, I had a drill instructor who was white. There was only 3 Hispanics. Most of them, majority of people that were black or white, was like, where are my wetbacks? We need to get the grass cut. And I remember standing there. I'm like, oh, he really meant it. I didn't, joke's on him. I don't even speak Spanish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And racism was everywhere.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to change how that man thinks? It goes back to his upbringing. Now, do I think we shouldn't try? Of course, we should always try. We should always strive to be better, But I'm not going to crucify his whole race for one individual's actions.
Yeah.
Why should you do that to law enforcement? And if you do want to better the situation, how about don't come at us sideways? How about educate yourself on the situation, what we could have done better, what could we do to improve? We're all for it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, if we had the ability to do that, there would be no drugs. There would be no guns. It'd be a perfect world, which I wish one day we get. But let's just be realistic. It is what it is. And yeah.
See,
that's my deal.
Part of your biggest problem, I think, is that, again, going back to the racial profiling, part of your job is profiling. I know when I worked at the mall, if someone stole from us, my job was to make sure that I get a good ID on the person because I need to tell somebody when they get here. Don't chase after them. Just get a good ID.
Correct.
It's a profile.
Right. And and they tell you this Mexican guy with the 13 on his back or arm or something.
If you can find something that's very distinguishable or whatever, let them know. So that's part of profiling. But is there, I should say, if you're stuck in the same department or not the same area, like let's just say East LA, right? You're in the same East LA, seeing the same crime, the same hood, the same knuckleheads doing the same ass thing. Do you get used to that?
Let me ask you a question. If you were to go in your bedroom right now, do you know where your underwear is?
Oh, yeah.
You know where your socks are?
Yep. Blindfolded, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Right.
So when you work certain areas, we know who certain people are.
Mm-hmm.
They do the same stuff. They're career criminals. Now, I may go to a different area, maybe not as much, but sometimes the shoe fits, man, and it's not far. I know, okay, well, gangsters like to have a certain style, and they like to look like this. But then again, you got these knucklehead kids who think that's cool, But either way, am I racially profiling? No, I'm experienced in my field of expertise that people who act and dress like this commonly do this.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm not going to go out of my way to just still mess with them because I've actually seen ex-gangsters who were somebodies who reformed, go to church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, maybe they might get stopped. I don't know. But again, what was the call? Did someone say, hey, a bald Hispanic with lots of tattoos did this? And unfortunately, you look like that.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's a crappy situation. I agree. But this helps me be a better police officer because I can go to certain areas and just know off the bat. Like in my experience, I can know already, okay, this dude guy's dope. It's just the experience. It can't even really explain it. Yeah. It's just over time being in the streets. And
how did you know I had that in my pocket right now?
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like anybody else's job. I'm sure they can have me go, I already know this needs to be done. X, Y, and Z. It's just part of the trade, but don't confuse that with, I'm just targeting a certain group of people. No. Because like, again, I've seen gangsters who are we call them fallouts. They don't do gangster stuff no more. They had a kid. They saw the error of their ways. And hey, I'm just trying to make a living, man. More power to you.
Yeah.
Good. You should give back to your community and be a better person. We all are not perfect. And I'm not going to fault you for it. But however, how you look, there's other people who look just like you who are doing stupid stuff, who are murdering and X, Y, and Z. But again, unless I'm getting that call, or whatever the case may be, or you give me a reasonable suspicion to think that you are committing a crime, we're not gonna have issues.
So that's my next question. So if you don't actually particularly get a call for a certain individual that's like fits a profile, and you're just patrolling, and you see somebody, when you pull them over to question them or whatever, is it because they're doing something suspicious, or is it just kind of like a routine thing? Like, hey, let me just pull this guy over, see what he's up to.
It could be a lot of things. And I mean, I'm going to have to discuss lots of experience in an academy in about a few minutes. It could be anything. It could be, okay, I see a gangster in a car and he committed this traffic violation. Then I come up to your car. I might smell dope in the car because of my training field and experience. I know what that smell is.
Yeah.
Or I see a meth pipe, whatever. Well, now we're going the full 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So 9 times out of 10, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
So, that's where my expertise goes. But guess what? For the normal community where this crime is occurring, I'm getting this person off the street for you, because people who are doped up and high don't make the best decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're driving under the influence. What if they hit your kid? What if they park and they go burgle your house because they want to get the next fix? Or what if they're out there about to go do a drive-by? There could be a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to look at the totality of what I'm doing in my profession. And my job is to make the community a better place to live, period. But I'm going to throw it out there. If I am required to use force by any means necessary, guy, I'm going home to my kids.
Yeah.
If you want to take it there, and I always use a speech, look, I don't want to have to fight you. And I'm going to tell you, if we go there, I'm pretty good at what I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to win. Let's not go there. You determine how this is going to go.
Right.
Sometimes the outcome is go fuck yourself. I'm not going to jail. Well, I'm going home to my 4 kids.
Yeah.
They're not going to lose their daddy today.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to take a lot of that in perspective. And people who do normal jobs, normal things, they just don't understand that.
Yeah.
I always tell someone, they ask me a question. You ever been in a fight before, guy? Well, that was just one time in grade school. No. Have you been to a fight for a guy who wants to take your life because he don't want to go to jail, or he's holding a gun, or he's doing X, Y, and Z? Well, no. Okay, so let's say you were. Are you going to hug him? You can give him a ride home? This dude's coming after you. He's not stopping. This dude has been that. He's lived that life.
Yeah. He's all about the life.
Yep. So are you just going to let him kill you? Well, no. Then why do you expect me to do that?
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I don't know if I'm answering a lot of people's questions, because like I said, and I started this whole thing with that little story with the West Covina PD. Not every cop was born a cop, and we have our experiences. I just don't choose to let those experiences affect me and how I work.
Yeah.
I saw racism in the military. Didn't make me want to hate white people. Just made me want to promote. And then maybe if I run across that guy again, check him.
Yeah.
It's all about bettering yourself. And I think people need to stop crying about situations. It's like, hey, look, it's out there. Evil is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to fix it tomorrow.
Right.
In time, we will, hopefully. But just continue to do the good, and hopefully that outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
And that's all we really can ask for.
You talked a little bit about preparing for these times right now, right? Like, being patrolling, in law enforcement. Some of that preparation for you was being in the service, right?
Correct.
In Iraq, in the Army.
Correct.
Now, what about, that's you, right? That's Gil Lozano. So what about some of the persons that don't have that kind of training? What kind of training do they go into, or do they continue to do training during?
We pretty much all get the same training in the academy and throughout your law enforcement experience. Are there more people more experienced than others? Of course.
Yeah.
My experience was the military. So for me, it was taking off one uniform, putting on another.
Yeah.
I've been in a whole year in tour, getting shot at and X, Y, and Z, and still moving a certain way. My mind frame is going to be different than yours. I remember my second shooting where I was getting shot at. I don't know if you've ever caught the news, but there was a Facebook Live and the guy was shooting at deputies.
Ah, shit. No, I don't remember that.
All right, well, that was me he was shooting at.
Oh, shit.
So I remember getting there at first, and then a partner, long story short, I mean, we get a call, male Hispanic, shooting at passerbyers.
Yeah.
Several calls received. So when you see something like that, it's like, okay, there's more than one person. Because sometimes you get one call received. Oh, it was probably a firework.
Yeah.
So I get there, and he's not there, and I kind of know who it is, and I know where he lives, and he's well known, kind of jumps from gain to gain or whatever the case may be. Well, I'm asking what we call our desk, hey, where's this guy at? Well, as soon as I stop, I hear ding, ding, ding. Oh, it's on. I know that noise. I'm getting shot at. So I get out of my car. My partner comes right behind me, and I yell at him, get out of the car, and he gets out of the car. So I'm like, get cover. So he's getting cover, and he has his oh shit look. He's never been in a shooting before.
Yeah.
And just like you said, didn't have that experience. And I'm laughing, actually. And he's like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, just stay your little ass down. Don't worry about it. I got this. I go on my radio. I start doing what I got to do.
Yeah.
Telling units, hey, we got to lock this down, X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to go into specifics on how we run things, but, you know, it's a normal day at work for me.
Yeah.
So all the experiences I had in the military, because the same thing, when I got ambushed or IEDs are going off or X, you know, whatever the case may be, I have people that I have to look out for, and we are trained a certain way. Hey, you're trained to deal with shitty situations, and this is one of them. So our mind frame isn't, let me just cuddle in a ball and cry. This is how you're going to handle it.
Yeah.
And you're going to save hundreds of lives, you know, or just a few lives for that matter. But yes, have I worked with guys who all they have is, I just used to live with mom and dad yesterday and I worked at Apple? Yeah, of course. Yeah. You don't have the experience. You can apply to be in law enforcement tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? In that case, I don't know. Again, I'm not in that position. I mean, my cousin right now is applying for law enforcement, and he doesn't have any of the background at all.
Yeah.
And he's in his late 20s. And I said, you know what? I know you could do the job. If your heart's in the right place, you're physically fit, you're mentally sound, you weren't a jackass growing up, you want to do good for your community, you can do this job. But the difference between me and you is that's like me throwing you in the deep end of the pool. Hey, you're going to have to swim.
Yeah.
So you're going to, one way or another, you're going to get experienced.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So did it help me? Yes. But is there people who don't have experience? Yes. But it doesn't necessarily mean they can't do the job.
Right.
It's just.
So are we
you know.
are we to expect them to learn on the job?
Oh, of course, it's always hands-on.
Yeah.
Even as I remember, the two hardest things I've ever done in my life, and I tell people, is being in the Army, which I would never do again, and being a trainee in patrol. It sucked.
Yeah.
You're that boot. You're that rookie.
The
You're
new
getting,
booty.
Yep. You're getting hazed. You're getting treated like crap. And I went from working in the jails to now I got to know how to do this. And you're expected to somehow know this.
Yeah.
And through your phases of training, eventually, as time goes on, it just becomes familiar. And then now you start realizing, man, I'm going to the same house, handling the same calls.
Yeah.
And then that's how you start gaining your experience.
Is there training that goes on throughout these years? Like your 14 years,
Yes.
have you continued training?
Yes.
As to like, this is the new way that we do things. It's not the same old
Yes.
way, you know,
So
new procedures. Cause now we got COVID-19, different procedures.
Yes. So I can't speak for other agencies. And that's what people also don't understand is that you have multiple agencies with different aspects and how they think their law enforcement officers train. So with that being said, I can only speak for the agency that I work for, but yes, we're constantly being trained. It's called recertification. I got a qual, which means I have to be proficient in my weapon every quarterly or whatever the case may be. If something new comes up, how to deal with situations, we have to get recertified. Yes. Throughout your training and career, you will always be trained to deal with whatever current situations at hand. So again, but that's for my agency. Now, if we were to go to agencies somewhere in the backwoods of, I don't know, Ohio, I don't know, because training actually costs money.
Yeah.
So again, you just voted to defund cops, but yet you want me to train in this aspect. Well, does money grow on trees? Who's going to pay for it?
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. They really need to educate themselves on what defunding the cop really means.
Yeah.
So you want us to reform, you want us to get trained in X, Y, and Z, but that costs money. So that's like me going to you and I expect you to learn this task, but by the way, I'm not paying for it. So figure it out. How are you supposed to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't work. So if we were to get the funding required, and we can make these changes, but again, with the government and the way it is, it's all about votes.
Yeah.
And especially in California, it's a very liberal state. If I could, I'd move out. I just would. And honestly, let's just put politics aside. Yes, I am conservative, but let's be honest. If I can get away with both parties, awesome, because politics are politics.
Yeah.
Both of them are shitty. I remember telling my aunt the other time, because she swears I love Trump. Like, no. I love what he has done for this country. He's a dipshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Take his freaking Twitter away, for Christ's sake. And all his other
Which they did already.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, he's banned now.
Yeah.
A little too late, but of course. But as a businessman, I'd rather have somebody who has no experience as a politician and as a business, because our economy has been doing great. Retirements, at least mine, has been doing awesome. He has put in those tax cuts and those tax breaks or what have you. Versus Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton, who are career politicians, have been in 30 plus. What has changed since they've been in office? Honestly.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I got to sit here and praise Joe Biden, who's been a career politician for 30 plus years. If he hasn't done shit then, what makes you think he's going to do shit now?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. People cannot be that dumb. You know what I'm saying? Here's Trump, who's never been a president. He just knows business and how to run his crap and makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he was doing it the best he can. Now, personally, would I invite that guy over for dinner? No, absolutely not. Of course not. I don't want orange stains on my carpet. But you know what I mean? But again, I'm all for the person that could do the job the best way. And if you happen to be Democrat, then do the job. That's what's required of you. I don't care what party you're from. But unfortunately, with politics, they play the game. They play as being sheep. And it's like, hey, look, guys, I'd less than jail time. Vote for me. Okay, well, what did that do for everybody else? You know what I'm saying? Look where Nancy Pelosi lives. And I was telling my son this. Look where Nancy Pelosi lives. So she's a civil servant who should be only making $200,000, but she's worth millions. So is Gavin Newsom. So you're telling me a career politician who supposed to make $200,000 a year, how are they rich?
Yeah.
Michelle Obama, I loved it when she was like, she had a little spiel. Guys, you know me. I don't like politics. Well, if you don't like fucking politics, why are you telling us this?
Yeah.
Why are you promoting Joe Biden?
Yeah.
And the last time I checked, you lived in, what's it called? Freaking some ritzy place in New York with you and your husband with $1 billion book deal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Have you been to South LA lately? Have you ate dinner at their house? You haven't been in my house.
Yeah.
So we are not going to be able to relate. People don't understand this at all whatsoever. And it's just sad. And I just think people should just educate themselves.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And if I was a politician, the best way to get the people to pretty much just take what I give them is, divide them. Think about it. If I want to run the country and do it, I'm going to divide the people. So they're too busy messing around with hating cops, hating each other. And behind the scenes, I'm going to do my nonsense and I'm going to make my money because at the end of the day, it's about them.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can call that a conspiracy theory or what have you.
It sounds a lot like QAnon stuff right there.
That's my personal opinions. Yeah. I'm just trying to hopefully with your listeners, brighten their horizons, open their ears. Like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
What selfish intentions do they really have? So again, when I told my aunt, she was surprised. She said, "Oh, so you're not what? So now you're finally saying Trump's an idiot?" No, I'm not saying he's an idiot. I mean, personally, he's an idiot. Yeah. What I'm saying is you are a fool if you think either Democrats or Republicans have your interests at heart. They do not.
Yeah, I don't think any politicians ever have the citizens' interests. Like no. They never. The ones that don't get voted in. My opinion, right?
Because I'm a civil servant. Yeah, I'm not rich.
Yeah.
Give me a book deal. I'll take 10 right now. I'll write them all out.
Let's you talked about not talking about the elephant in the room. Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. This incident that happened at Capitol Hill, right? Everybody's upset about how come they didn't get how come they didn't stop them, right? How is it that they were able to overtake it when in a peaceful march that was going on back in the day, right, with BLMs and all that stuff, right? Peaceful because they wanted us to see that there was a peaceful march.
Yeah, I would say I was working that day. There was no peace.
Okay.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I want you to talk about that if you don't mind.
No. I do. I'm saying I don't know what you're talking about because there was no peace nowhere. I mean, they were burning and burning down whatever. It's just news is only going to show you bits of parts of it. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean all the rioters were being crazy? No, there was people with legit issues and they wanted to protest.
Right.
That's your freedom of speech. Exercise it. But it doesn't mean while on your way, let's go break into the Apple store. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Capitol Hill. Now, again,
but those now, my opinion is, I think those were just people that are like politicians, opportunists that Correct. Came in after the legit protesters and then did their fucking thing, right?
But however, what were the politicians saying? It's a peaceful organization. Oh, that's just them venting. Mm-hmm. They were actually excusing this nonsense that was going on. Well, if it wasn't for the cops, you wouldn't be in this situation. No, guy, that's not what's going on.
Yeah.
It's opportunists taking a situation because they know everybody's divided, mingling in with the group that does have a valid point, and making it worse. Now, Capitol Hill, I can only give you my opinion. I don't work for
obviously
Capitol
you
Hill,
weren't up there, yeah.
But from what I've seen from the videos, now the agency that worked in that in particular detail were federally funded. Okay, I can't go to a federally funded building and just conduct my business there. Absolutely not. They have their own police force, X, Y, and Z. So they clearly were not prepared for that situation. So we talked about training, right? You're taking a handful of guys who probably, again, my opinion, who probably sat there and walked around these monuments and all they get is visitors and maybe the occasional drunk guy. Oh shit, now you got a mob that have guns.
Yeah.
What did you expect them to do?
Yeah.
So people are taking that and twisting it, as media does. Well, because they're white privileged, because the majority of them were conservative. No, what they did was absolutely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No different than BLM, period. That should have never freaking happened. However, what did you expect the law enforcement agency, or the federal agency for that matter, what did you expect them to do? They weren't trained for that. They didn't have the weapons. They couldn't neutralize anything. None of that was, they weren't even planning for that. Yeah, Trump was saying, we're going to go to cap. But really? Did you really think that was going to happen?
Yeah.
No. I didn't. I'll be honest with you, because Trump always says crazy nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think people were actually going to go and do it. And in this case, they did.
Yeah.
But I will say this, the one event that happened, everybody's losing their shit. What about the last 7 months of this protesting? But no one said nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to turn a blind eye. That's peaceful. No, it's not. People are getting killed. People are losing their businesses. I remember seeing a news clip of a elderly black female who was crying. The store is all I have. I am black like you are black. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
My store is done. I can't financially recover from this. How is that okay? So these guys marched on Capitol Hill. Well, you know what? If you want my opinion, at least they went to the source. They didn't destroy other people's small businesses that had nothing to do with the cause. They went straight to the source.
Yeah.
Now, before anybody takes that opinion and run with it,
They will.
do I agree with it? Absolutely not.
Okay.
That is horrific. It should never happened. There's ways of doing things, and this is not going to better anybody's cause. BLM, the crap that all those horrific things that were going on at people's businesses and the crimes, whatever, that's not going to help your movement. Conservatives, rushing Capitol Hill, it's not going to help your movement. It's just going to piss more people off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know how good of a high school student you were. I mean, I wasn't the best, but I do remember awesome people like Martin Luther King. What's one thing everybody could say about him? Nonviolent, nonviolent, nonviolent.
Yeah.
We don't have to be violent to get our point across. So how did that change? Okay. And then during that time frame, if we want to get deep into this, they couldn't eat with whites, correct?
Right.
They couldn't do all that stuff. Today's a little bit different. Okay. You can buy an iPhone like I could buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not saying your situation, you shouldn't protest. Maybe you have. Like actually Dr. Dre or that movie, what was it? The movie they made about the NWA and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And the horrific experiences.
Straight out of
Compton. Okay. And the experiences they had with that agency, I think was Torrance PD. It probably was like that. I'm not saying it wasn't. That's freaking horrific.
Yeah.
Okay. They should never been, looked at like thugs, right? They were just artists doing their thing. But in the beginning of the movie, what did everybody miss? Eazy-E was selling drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how he funded all that. So we can't just take away from, a lot of these major issues and just kind of sugarcoat it. Oh, well, they're like this now. No, it doesn't. None of this is going to solve anything. If we really want to fix this, we got to get people that are going to be there for us. Honestly, you want my honest opinion? Take all the conservatives and all liberals, get them the hell out of Congress, get the governor we have out of office, and let's start putting our own people in there that are actually for the people.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not going to happen, we're never going to see peace.
Yeah.
Because it's all politically motivated for their selfish needs.
It sounds like every politician trying to get in office, right? Like that's the same thing that they say all the time.
Like right now, so we're about 500,000 signatures short to recall Gavin Newsom. Now all of a sudden, all these people are like, "Oh, he's doing a horrible job in X, Y, and Z, X, whatever." Okay, guy. Well, let's see what you're gonna do for us.
Yeah.
I'd rather you run for office. At least it make more sense. You might not have the experience, but I know you're not corrupt.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the problem. I mean, again,
until I get corrupted.
Yeah,
because the system,
I would love to run for governor. Let me tell you, but because I just wouldn't, I just wouldn't be biased. I would just sit there and, hey, look, what works? If a Democrat came up to me and the idea worked, then let's do it.
Yeah.
If a Republican came up to me, regardless of my political affiliation, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
It's for the people. But when you're thinking, how's this going to benefit our cause, our problem, our pockets? Okay. Then you should take that person out. But again, like I said, with Nancy Pelosi, who's sitting there eating her ice cream, getting her hair did, but yet crucifying everybody else who isn't. And again, notice the pattern. They keep playing the card. To take the situation away from them. Yes, BLM, or we're for protesting. You just got busted yesterday. No, forget that. We're for you guys right now.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Dude, there's obviously like a big picture behind everything. I'm not living in that big picture. I have a small frame, a small little wallet sized picture here at home. So when I teach my kid, like when he tells me something like he makes a big blanket statement about somebody or a group, I have to quickly tell him like, you can't make that kind of statement, because if you're in a group and if you put yourself, this is why I hate labels. This is why I hate being part of a group. If it's a podcast group, I'm not going to join a podcast group because to me it's a game.
I'm not gonna listen to Joe Rogan because of X, Y, and Z or something like that. Yeah.
So, you got to tell them like, you really reel it back, dude, reel it back, because if you're part of this little crew and one person does something bad, it's all of you. It's all of you. So how do we, I know that'll never happen. We're always gonna have Democrats, Republicans. But why can't we just all work together, right? There's no more gray area. It's all black and white. And when I say black, I don't mean colors and racism. I just mean either this way or that way. And no more working together. Like let's get the whole house all painted all red. Let's paint it blue, and that's it.
What people don't realize is a lot of your constitutional rights are being pulled from right under you. Your freedom of speech is being so like this whole thing with Twitter. Okay, yes, Trump's an idiot. Why ban his account? What makes him different than there's stuff on Twitter I've seen that were Muslim related, hate Americans. We're going to kill these bastards. They still got a page. Mm-hmm. So who are they to pick and choose what we say? Like right now, we're talking as two men on your podcast. Now, granted, we're probably going to piss some people off right now or have different views or whatever the case may be. But that's my opinion. That's your opinion.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about causing chaos. We're talking about we need some change and we need it now one way or another. And people don't want to see the bigger outcome. They just want to see my needs are not being met. You're not doing what I want. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then you got this politician, this greedy guy in the background. Hell yeah. These people are confused. Let's take advantage of it. No different than a crooked salesman. You got a used car salesman trying to sell you a bomb Lamborghini with the freaking Kia engine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what you got. Yeah. And that's what we're putting our faith into. And it needs to stop, and it won't stop until we change that, or maybe just people start educating themselves, like these propositions. You're voting for stuff that are not helping nobody.
Yeah,
it's making it worse. It's making our job worse because what? I've been to a call. Why isn't he going to jail? It's Prop 47, man. What do you want me to do? You guys voted for it.
Yeah.
If it was my opinion, he'd be going to prison. But you guys are claiming that prison and jail system is horrible, so we shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but the way I was raised, you do something bad, you get punished for it. No different than life.
Let's just say, you as a minor did something bad.
Well,
your parents will are liable.
Get cited to go to court with you. Mm-hmm. So let's say that the petty theft thing you talked about, and you got arrested for it. You would be cited and released. However, I would have to cite your mom and your dad because I need to make sure you're going to court. Otherwise, you would just throw that ticket away and not go.
Yeah.
While your mom and your dad can get a warrant. Hey, you're not being arrested, and you're only being cited because you were responsible for this minor. You both shall go to court.
Yeah.
So that's
and we still practice that?
Yes.
Why don't we need to start talking about that more? We need to start putting that fear into these kids again, because that's what scared the shit out of me. That's why
parents just sit there and don't want to deal with the nonsense. They don't want to be parents. They just want their kid to run amok, do their thing, and it just makes life easier.
Yeah.
And and I'm not for that. Like I
said,
soft
ass parents.
I had a conversation, again with my son, and he has aunts and uncles who are like, again, kind of have a maid right now, and I told him, you're not going to be that way. You're not going to be in your mid to late 20s living with me, because if you do, we have a problem.
Yeah.
You're not being successful. I told my son, so you're telling me you're in your mid to late 20s, you live with me, and you bring your girl home. You know what I'm going to say? So you're not embarrassed that a grown man lives with his parents, bringing his girlfriend to come have relations. Obviously, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I already feel sorry for you, but I'm going to tell the girl, hey, don't you have respect for yourself?
Yeah.
Are you literally going to a grown man's parents' house to have sex?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that. There's a hell of a lot of that. So I told my son, let's just be better than that, man.
Yeah.
Let's be better. And you know what? And as parents, just like with you and your kids, we can only control right now our little circle. And hopefully when they grow up, they can change these. Maybe my son will be the next politician, the next governor or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what? I remembered all this stuff. His experiences in life won't be like mine. The reason why where I'm at is because of the horrific experiences I had.
Yeah.
Be it in Iraq, or parents being too young, having kids, and X, Y, and Z. His experience will be, my dad told me about all this nonsense. I've seen all the stuff he had to go through. I've seen him come home dead tired, but still have the energy to come work out with me, X, Y, and Z. I need to make this better for everybody.
Yeah.
That's the motivation that we could do for our kids. And hopefully anybody watching this could sit there and, you know what, at the end of the day, regardless if I think this guy's full of shit, he wants to make this world a better place, and I'm on for it with him. Let's do what we got to do.
Yeah.
And best where it starts is honestly raising your kids the
Yeah.
right way. You know, it really does. And like I said, you know, a lot of my opinions, and again, I always tell people I wasn't born a cop, so I wasn't, you know, when I said I was high and mighty when I first came on the department, it was mostly because I went from the Army, which you didn't get paid nothing, to a profession where I thought, well, I do make great money, but a profession where I thought it was the answer to my problems. You know, I didn't have to handle the aspect of the ugliness of it. You know, we get paid a lot of good money, but let me tell you, we go through a lot of shit that you don't want to go through.
Yeah.
And when I say I thought my shit didn't stink, it played a lot into, like, you know, I thought I was a little badass. Like, don't talk to me. You're beneath me because you don't know what the hell you're doing. And it cost me my marriage. You know, I started messing around and doing nonsense because we all know grass is greener.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nice and it feels nice, and I'm getting attention and love. And versus I go home and this person hates me, doesn't even want to look at me. And then what happens? Like everything else. Okay, well, now that fling is done. I'm trying to go back, and I already ruined it.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my son, because he asked me, he goes, you know, Dad, what's one of your regrets you have in life? And I know we're kind of getting sidetracked right now, but I tell him, you know, I don't really have regrets in my life because everything's a learning lesson. Mm-hmm. But I do regret, you know, not making my marriage work, because at the end of the day, again, and this is the cause of why you shouldn't have kids be married in teens or your early 20s. I was 23 when I had my first child, and I was married. Is you guys ultimately paid the price. You know, his mom's parents, they're still together. So she didn't come from a broken home. Yeah. So like right now we're dealing with that right now, where she doesn't really understand how my son is. And I'm trying to explain to her, well, we're a broken home. Yeah. At the end of the day, our main goal at the end of the day is to be there for our kids. Okay. And we're working on that. Mm-hmm. But you're having trouble understanding my son because you didn't have what your son has right now. I do. I have a heads up on that right now. So I talk to my son and I coach him. And so I tell him, you know, let me tell you, man, that is no different than chasing a narcotic. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I'm like, everybody gets addicted to that quick high, that honeymoon stage. Mm-hmm. Everybody's awesome. Sure, I can go talk to a chick right now and sell myself, and I'm sure I'll be cool for the first 6 months. But I said, you'll know when a real relationship is when you're about maybe a couple years into it, when there is no more honeymoon stage and there's work that needs to be done. You're going to get on each other's nerves and X, Y, and Z. And if you can still make it work, you know, then that's a solid relationship. If not, you're going to chase the next high. Because go to the next guy, go to the next woman, go to the next person that's giving you attention for that moment. Shit just wears out and it gets old. So I told my son, you know, that's the only regret I have, and I don't want you to chase that. So I want you to have just a lot more brighter knowledge to life, not just with the politics and what I'm dealing with, but relationships and stuff like that, you know. But that brings me back to, let's talk about the law enforcement deal. I was going through a divorce, and I was a cop, so I'm paying for these, and this is why I hate lawyers. Freaking couple $1,000 lawyer who didn't do a damn thing for me. He just showed up, but somehow that bill was $25,000.
Shit.
And I'm dealing with that. I have nothing. People don't know the story, but when I worked in the jails, at one point in my life, I was sleeping in my truck.
Oh shit.
Yep. I had all my stuff in there, and I will never forget this. I'm sitting there, and I was actually eating the food that they were giving the inmates. Anything extra, they didn't really see me. Again, we're going back to how I used to. I'm such a survivor. Okay. I've always been in survival mode when I was a kid, when I shouldn't have been. Yeah. So I would, any extra food left over, I would just eat it. And it's not the best food. Anybody's been in jail could tell you, I don't know what kind of ham that is. Yeah. That's weird. So, and I would just eat it because I was paying for lawyers. And at that time I only had 2 kids, or I had 3, but they were really, really small. I couldn't afford to do anything. And I didn't know what the outcome of my divorce was going to be because child support or whatever. So I stayed, I remember sitting in my truck and I'm like, how am I in this position? Yeah. I went to war. I served my country. I did everything I could. Why am I here? Like no different than being in junior high or sleeping on that bench with nothing. Luckily, a good buddy who's no longer law enforcement and he got medically retired saw me sleeping in the truck and he goes, hey man, you know what? That's when I think eHarmony just started or something. Yeah. I met this girl and we're going to get married. But however, I just had this lease for a year and I only been there for a month. So I don't want to break it because I don't want to ruin my credit. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Money's not an issue. Pay me what you can. Just stay there. Just don't stay in the parking structure in the jails anymore. Yeah. So that was my first big break. And, and I went in there and the rest, I stayed in there until I started saving money to get my own place, but again, so imagine that guy going through all that, right? But then you're calling 911 and I got to fix your problems. I got to fix your marriage in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I tell people, how am I going to fix what you ruined in 30 years, man? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I get these calls, see the woman because she requests deputies to speak to her child because he won't listen to her. I'm like, ma'am, he's 12 years old. I cannot do this in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You want him to go to school? Fine. And I tell him, dude, get your stuff. Let's go. You're going to jail. Copy. Yes, sir. How'd you do it? I don't know. How are you not doing it? You know what I mean? But again, let's say you call me.
There's no fear.
Yeah, but not only that, but let's just say, like I said, the whole point I'm trying to say is when you call 911, I'm human too. You don't know I'm going through all this stuff. Just like in junior high and high school, you didn't know I was going through all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We are human. We're going to make mistakes is what the whole point of what this is. And, and there's good people everywhere. There really is, and just like that, my partner or the buddies that I had in high school, again, they don't even know. I'm pretty sure because I send them a link to this, if they watch this. I mean, they knew a little bit. My life kind of, I wasn't really happy with it.
Yeah. But
we were so busy and partying. I'm pretty sure they didn't pay attention. But now they're like, damn, he was at our house a lot. Yeah. I'm surprised their parents are not sending me a bill right now. This guy ate our food, and again, my buddy Randy's parents, phenomenal family, or my friends, I was talking about a female that you said you won't know. Her name is Tiffany.
Yeah.
I just know a small part of her story and my friend Joseph, as people tend to go their own paths. He was going through some stuff. She happened to be there for him. Thinking then this guy was going to lose everything, and because of that relationship they had as high school sweethearts, whatever the case may be, or that love, whatever the case may be, she pulled him out of it. They have 2 beautiful kids and the rest is history. And I remember talking to her. I'm already a deputy at this point. And, I actually stayed in their house a couple times, and it's just seeing how people can go from nothing to something is awesome. You know what I'm saying? It just reminds me of the crap I went through was for something.
Yeah.
And if Tiffany, if you're you awesome, China, awesome woman. The fact that she held it down. She was there for my buddy. I wish I would have been, but I didn't keep in touch with him.
Yeah.
They didn't keep in touch with me. I didn't keep in touch with you.
No.
But you know what? If that was his anchor that he needed and she made it happen, the world cannot thank you enough. But same thing. Like I said, this is going to tie back into the law enforcement deal. If I can be that guy that goes to your house and help you out with a situation that may be difficult to you, okay? Because for that moment, I have to act like your problems matter to me.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I just met you. Mm-hmm. All I know is we're here. You're going through a traumatic experience, and I have to fix it, and I have to get you to feel that I fixed it. I'm not going to fake the funk. I'm actually going to care. Mm-hmm. All right? You might not like the process. Your ex-husband who just beat you up might not go to jail forever, or the guy that robbed you at gunpoint may only see 6 months in probation, if that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be going through it with you, and I think people tend to lose that. Hey, we are that person to you. We can be that anchor. Just allow us to do our job. And if you really think we're doing a horrible job, then you know what? Let's not defund the police. Let's do what we can to give them maybe better training, whatever the case may be, or even better. This is what I always tell people. If you really want to know what we're going through, come ride with me. Do a ride along.
Yeah.
And tell me what you would do in a situation different. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, I couldn't do this job. Yeah, well, you're voting to take money away from us to get trained. So what do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? War, Iraq. We're supposed to just hug Saddam Hussein? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, all the way back to George Washington. What was he supposed to do? Tell the enemies, hey, don't worry about it. We're just going to hug them. We're using too much force. No. Where would we be?
But I mean, in a situation where if you feel like you've been treated bad by an officer, why not make a report on that one officer and not try to put Correct. The whole department into jeopardy?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, you have that legal right to any agency is to make a complaint. If you don't like the services that I provide, I'm gonna remind you, this is not Best Buy. I'm not Apple. I'm not always you. Sometimes people that call 911 are the problem.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to jail. And if you have an issue, yes, file a complaint. It will go through its channels, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
But that's it. But you're right. Fuck all cops. Why? The next guy you call, it might be a better experience for you. I remember numerous times where I've actually taken people to jail, and in handcuffs are like, you know what, deputy, you gave me the respect. Although I know I fucked up, and I'm gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Thank you for not treating me like a piece of shit. And I'm like, you know what, bro? I get it. I'm human. Again, this badge does not make me who I am.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for your bad experiences with other guys who carry a badge. I'm not saying we're perfect, and I'm not going to make excuses for my brothers and my sisters, but we're human. And maybe he was going through some shit. Maybe he was going through a divorce. You know, maybe someone in his family got killed. Maybe his kid got, you don't know that. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know, just like you didn't know the stuff I was going through. Just like I sure, when everybody sees this and I go to briefing, I don't know. People, maybe someone come talk to me, you know what, bro, that opened up a lot of doors. And I've been going through this situation. Like, damn, well, that explains why you're always pissed off at the world.
Yeah.
You know, at least now you know what pisses me off. You know, someone, I'm telling you right now, when my partners see this, they're going to be like, damn, that explains everything. You know?
No, man, dude, this was crazy. I think we're going to have another one, dude, like a part 2, maybe even a
Of
3.
course,
Because I think
man.
there's so many things that I wanted to ask you, but I'm like, I know we're running out of time over here.
Yeah,
For sure,
no,
but
you know what? I'm all for it. I don't hold back. Maybe if people are watching this, if they have your social media, if they want to send you questions to ask me,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to give you the most straight up reply and answer, not just from a cost perspective, from a Gil Lozano's perspective. And it might not be what you want to hear, or maybe it is. I don't know. But at least I do the job and I can help you understand why something happened. But please, if you have warrants, I'm not going to write them off or anything like that. So don't.
I'm sure you get a lot of those calls.
Yes, yeah. Well, real quick before we end this,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny. So also during my time, and I would patrol the area that I lived, sometimes I'd run into old people I did go to high school with. And I kind of remember them. And again, people watching this, because I know our relationship high school wise, if anybody from high school is watching this, hey, I am not Gil Lozano from when I was 16, 15, 17 years old. I'm a grown-ass man with kids who's been through some shit, and I don't look at life the way I did before as a kid. So therefore, if I have to go to your house because you committed a crime, oh, you know, I had one guy, and I'll say the name when we're done with this.
Okay.
Wasn't doing too well. And
Okay.
he was causing all kinds of issues, and he was in a psychiatric place, you know, for mental deals, and they were like, we can't take him. This dude's violent and X, Y, and Z. Now, my partner was there, and I go talk to him, and I knew who he was right away. It's just because it's a very distinct person. I'm like, oh, dude. And he looked at me, and he looked at me again. He goes, Gilbert?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. The Dancing Rebel? And I was like, oh, my God.
The Dancing Rebel.
No, it did not happen. I'm going to tell you right now, dude, you don't know nothing. I don't know what he's talking about. So I was like, you know, dude, I don't know. I don't remember that. And my partner right away, what? You were a rebel? And I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
I think we all looked like that eventually.
Okay,
right?
right. We all had the bangs and the whatever.
bangs.
Yeah, you know, I grew out of it my junior year. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So anyways, so I helped him out. I didn't take him to jail. I convinced the people to not press charges or whatever the case may be. But you know, again, you know, with that being said, you know, if I can help you out and you were good to me, I'm going to do what I can. But if you put me in a position where it's either my career doing the right thing or losing it because you're a buddy, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I will answer whatever questions that need to be answered, because I really feel that the public needs to understand our point of view, and not our point of view. I'm not going to shove nothing down your throat, because again, at the end of this, you're going to walk away with your opinions, but at least you cannot say, I didn't. Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I'll make my opinion, but now I see the 10 minutes before what's being posted.
Yeah.
So yeah, by all means, we can do
Wow.
a part 2, man. Let me know.
There you go. There you have it. Thank you very much, Gil
No
Lozano.
problem. All right, man. Pleasure.
You guys,
Definitely.
this is Fidel Levendan Jr. We're tapping out. Talking Again podcast. We're out.
Yeah, hosted by Fidel. Tell it like it is, only tell it real. Live every Tuesday, you know the deal. We talking again, we talking again. You now tuned in to the tap in. You now tuned in to the tap in. You now tuned in to the tap in. We talking again, we talking again. Come on. We're live.